don't care what has happened to you. We are winning today. This is Michelle, and I am your motivator, your spiritual evolutionist. In today's Michelleology Evolution meditation, we are going to meditate on this wonderful Wednesday because we win on this Wednesday. We are not in the L column, we're in the win. We're right in the win column. So as we begin to focus, because we got a good word coming up today. There are some things that you must design and create for your day. Yes, all of this space is a creative space for you to design and create something that has been purposed in your soul. Yes, it's not in your flesh. It's in your soul and your spirit. So it's an inner being. It is an inner contact. And it cannot be touched by outside interference. It cannot be changed. Oh, that's good. It is there. It is the desire that God has placed in your heart. And He has given you. I know we say He'll give us, but He has given you the desires of your heart. So we have to stay focused through meditation. Meditation is medication, preventive medicine for the things that you will face today. I want to challenge you today. Face your fears. Why? Because they're false energy appearing real. So when you face them, you change them from that place of scariness, or that place that it causes you to be a monument and not a movement, and you make it something totally different. Why? Because you are creator and you co-creating with God, and you living out the imagination of God, which is unlimited power. Wednesday power. I know I'm hyped today, but we're going to begin to meditate. We're going to close our eyes and we're going to focus today because this is Winning Wednesday. Look yourself in the eye today and say, I am winning today. That's the mantra. I am winning today, and every day that I am available and that I am focused and that I am here in this place, So let's breathe. We take it from the bottom to the top, then from the top to the bottom. We cover all the energy points within your spine. We begin to unblock them. We begin to open them. We begin to design them in a greater space and a greater place. The vibes in the music today are adding some energy to some things that are dead in your life. So, let's begin. Close your eyes if you can. Straighten your spine. Focus on the bottom of your spine, which is your chakra, your root chakra, that's rooting and grounding you in this place and in this space, and begin to feel that air coming up. Let's go. Deep breath. Bring it all the way up here. Hold it. Let it go. Let's do it again. Bring it up. Let's do it again. Bring it up. As we are expelling, we're expelling those toxic energies. You've given your muscles a relief. You were all tense. Now the breath has caused you to relax. You can be kind of conscious of different places in your body, like here. Here's a tense place. In the bottom of your back is a tense place, and in the middle. And so the breathing helps you to relax those muscles. It helps you to expand your lungs, because we breathe, but we breathe shallowly. So we need to deep breathe. We need to go into deep places and begin to find what's at the bottom of that barrel that we can use, that we have not placed any attention on. So, listen. Today, we are about to go on a journey. We're going to talk about as above, so below, as above. And as we begin to do that, we begin to open our consciousness, our enlightenment. We begin to shine the light, which I call Jesus, the light on our dark situations. And when we begin to know those things, we begin to manifest them. So I do suggest that you get the book called the Kabbalah. It is by the Three Initiatives. It begins to talk about the 7 principles of God. We've talked about some of them before, and we may do one where we take one a day and we just go through the whole book and do some highlights on it. But it is going to bring revelation to you. But today we're going to talk about the principle of correspondence, which says, as above, so below, as below, so above. So this is talking about, as we begin to do that, correspondence means there's something happening here, so there's something happening here. So it says, as above. Now we can look at it as in your mind. Know that this is a within situation. Above, below. We can look at it as heaven and earth. But what we don't want to do, they correspond. They're not separate. We look as heaven or earth. But in the beginning, in Genesis, it says God created the heaven and earth. It did not say that there was a distance between the creation. So it leads me to believe, or the revelation that I see on it, is that heaven and earth were created at the same time. And that as it's done in heaven, as we read, or we've repeated or recited, as it is it is done in heaven as it is in earth. And so there's a correspondence that God is just not working in heaven, but he's working in earth. So he has to be within us. The kingdom of heaven is within. So just as we're looking for a geographical location of heaven, there's a mental place. It is a place within your mentality. We serve God with our minds. So heaven and earth, when God began to create us, he created the spiritual part. He created the physical part. And so when we got to that tree of the knowledge of good and evil is when the separation came. And God said, when you eat of that, doesn't mean biting or chewing. It means when you consume that in your hearing, in your being, then you begin to separate. And he said that is what is causing the death of different things in your life. When you begin to separate them, when you begin to know this is good and evil, you begin to create the very thing that you are focusing on. Remember, we are the light. And as we are the light, the dark places that we spend going through, the dark places that we've had, some people say the dark night of the soul. I don't know really what that is to me. But to me, since I've discovered my true salvation, which is walking in light, which when Jesus came, he was the light, and he came to shine light on the dark places of our life. He came to be an example of what it is to be light, walking in a dark place. As above, so below. And so we're on a corresponding. We're on a polarity. There's always an opposite. We're in a place and a stage that we have to recognize what our power is. So we're not walking like this. We're not uneven or unlevel. We are walking in a place in the space of correspondence. We have to know that whatever is going on in our spirit is going on in our flesh if we are conscious of that. And when you become conscious of something, that means you can relate to it. That means you are going into a place and a space that allows you to be. To be or not to be is the question. And so as you begin to manifest those things within yourself, you begin to manifest the greatest version of yourself. So as we begin to look at the correspondence of the things that are going on in our life, it is not, sometimes when we're going through dark places, we begin to ask God, where are you, God? Why do I have to do this? Why did you allow this to happen? But we are co-creating with him. Our mentality, our things of being, our places of being. It allows us to go forth in a place and a space that we can be manifesting those things. Our thoughts we have to bring into alignment. We can't just be outside and say nothing is going on the inside. It allows us to take full authority over our lives. It allows us to take responsibility of our lives. We must stop blaming other people for things that have happened in our lives. Listen, Who told you you were naked? Who are you listening to? What are you consuming within your life that is causing you to be on an uneven place? We have to level our lives out by being conscious, by being knowledgeable, by knowing, by walking as a God being and stop walking so much as a human being. We have to level out. We are multi-dimensional people. What? You're not just in a physical dimension. You have a soul dimension. You have a spiritual dimension. And you have to line it up to a balance of a place and a space where it allows you to be the greatest version of yourself. And then when we walk in that, knowing that there's nothing that can happen below me that's not going to happen above me. Above means taking your highest energy, the highest energy that you can possibly have, taking that energy and allowing it to be a grandstand in your life. Once you go above with the energy, you can take it below. That's why we do the breathing. We took it from below, took it up, and then we took it back down. We are balancing out our chakras, our kundalini, our energy, and it's allowing us to be healthy, wealthy, well, to be, to have, and to do, to expand our consciousness, to walk in our purpose, in our destination, to live instead of existing. All of those components are lined up in as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without. So as you go in, that's where it's going to be in the outer stage. When I say without, it's not meaning not having. It's meaning that the within is going to come out. So we manifest from the inside to the outside. We're not just in a space and a place of nothing, because in the beginning, the world. So that makes me think that if he created heaven and earth at the same time, and the earth was without the world, the earth was without form, then he allowed us and created us to come and give it some form. To take that aboveness, to take that spiritualness, that soulness, and come into the earth and begin to line it up with heaven so that we're on a equal frequency. I'm telling y'all, this is some deep stuff. This is some revelational stuff. So what they have done, whoever you call they, that have caused you to be distracted, that have caused you to lose your way, that have caused you to be depressed, to have anxiety, to be in trauma, to be stressed out, are those that are trying to learn you a different way. Another way that you have to come back and remember. We're not put here to learn, we're put here to remember. Because before we got in the womb, we had a meeting with God, we made a covenant with God, and we were equipped with all the tools that God gave us to make this journey. No parent sends out their child without the equipment they need to make it for that journey. And so we need to stop saying that we don't have or we won't. When you want something, that means the Lord is not your shepherd. Oh, that's a creative space for you. And so we must be mindful of our conversation. We must have a light conversation, not a dark conversation. We must have a high frequency conversation, not a low frequency conversation. We are energy, and everything we deal with is energy. And it's a power, it's an anointing, it's a chi, it's a prana, it's all of those things that allows you to go forth in your life. There's no need in you sitting there feeling like you're nowhere. Cut that word up and it says now here. You have got to take the darkness out of your life. And the only way you can do that is become the light. You have got to accept the light. One time God said to me, my children do not know how to receive. And that was an impact to me. He says, I have given promises. I have given power. I have given protection. I have given all of these tools, but I don't have anyone that's receiving. The harvest is plenteous, but the labors are few. There are only a few people that are activating. There are only a few people that are awake. There are only a few people that are conscious. There are only a few people that are seeking. Out of all these millions of people, we are so conditioned that we've lost that hunter power in us to seek, to look, to dig. That's the work. If you don't work, you don't eat. Means if you don't work the spiritual things and the soulish things within you, you're not going to eat the good of the land, which is the land of good and milk and honey, which is the place of abundance. We are prosperous beings. Yes, we are prosperous beings. And because prosperity includes health and wealth, most of us are sick because we don't discern that communion. We don't discern. This is not drinking the blood of Jesus. Now, see, when we talk about drinking the blood of Jesus in the earth form, you all start naming it as witchcraft. This is not eating the flesh of Jesus that we've said, because we said, this is my blood, drink of it. This is my flesh, eat of it. That's not the true communion. I'm sorry to bust a lot of people's bubble, but that's not the true communion. The true communion is, for as often as you do this in remembrance of me. The true communion is coming back to the remembrance, repenting, returning back to your original state of spirituality, and then communing yourself with that. Commune means come together. Recognize what Jesus said, I find it not robbery to be like the Father. Some of us can't say that because we won't say that because we've been conditioned not to say that. But when you become one, that's the true marriage. The marriage of the left side, which is Adam, atoms. The marriage of the right side, which is Eve, evolution, come together, become one. We come in that communion. Come on now. That's why we serve God with our mind. And I'm talking about your head mind. I'm talking about your heart mind. Your heart is where faith is. Your head has a lot of fear in it. But when you come together, heart first, line it up with your head first, is a communion. Remembering is a communion. Knowing that Jesus is the light is a communion. Walking around like you are light is the communion. See, it's more than a cup of juice and a cracker. It's more than that. That's what we do as a symbolism in the physical. But when you go deep as a spiritualism, the communion is becoming the light. Jesus is the light of the world. If Jesus is within me, then I am a part of that light. I am co-creating. We are going into this journey was given to us to go in and to make a difference, to be a light, so that people can see that even in their dark places, there's still a light. And once the light comes, the darkness is dispelled. So once the light comes within you, as above, so below, as the light is above, it comes below to level you out to a space and a place that you can manifest the greatest version of yourself. Don't be left behind by not knowing. That's why the word says study to show yourself approved. And I told you before, words are nothing until you breathe that breath and it becomes living. So that's why you have to have a light language. And you have to speak, because the power of your light language is in your tongue, in your language. So as you begin to speak things, you're calling those things. See, as a creator, when you call things, they're already manifested in your mind, in your inner being. You see them, you have a vision, you see them. And so when you call them, that means you're calling what you already see as already manifested, as already in place, already in this atmosphere. That's why what you're saying is so powerful. What are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to others? And remember, whatever you're saying to others, there's a place in your brain that doesn't know that you're saying it to somebody else. It thinks you're saying it to yourself. So whatever you're sowing in your words, you're actually sowing back into yourself. So if you're calling somebody ugly, you're calling yourself ugly. You're manifesting that in you, in your inner being. And then eventually you'll begin to see yourself that way. Woo! Man, if you're missing this, you better replay this, because I am dropping some stuff that's hot off the press. Some of this stuff I didn't know that I knew it until I said it, because I allow myself to open my mouth and allow myself to allow, because I trust God, and God, I trust me to trust God. And as things begin to come out, I can't worry about your feelings. I am concerned about your well-being. So some of the things that I was taught, I now know I learned some things that I shouldn't have been learning. I should have been remembering what God said to me. So in this meditation, this is a place for you to level out, for you to correspond that as above, it so is below. And as below, it so is above. What is done in heaven is done in earth. Not on earth, but in earth. And so I'm so aligned with God. I'm so aligned with God. I'm so aligned with God that you don't know where I begin and he ends, or I end or he begin. That's why he says I'm Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, because there's no ending in God. There's only ending in time. Come on, y'all. Let's get this. There is no ending in God. So he can't be Alpha and Omega and be God. He's talking about as above, so below as above. He's talking about lining up earth and heaven so there can be an equal correspondence of the activity that will cause the people to live and not exist. Listen here. Listen. Come on, there's some good stuff today. As we begin to move in the greatest version of ourselves, we have to have revelation. We have to have the light. Let me tell you, I'm going through some stuff over here that most of you might say is dark, but I see the light because I am the resolution, because the resolution is in me and the light is in me, so there is no dark place. So change what you call dark and what you call light. There's a reversal in the atmosphere. And if you don't grasp on this, if you don't start seeing and knowing instead of just believing what somebody just said, if you don't tag onto your connection, your adjoinment with God, and he begin to show you trouble way off, then it'll cause you to move from this trial and error way of living. Because if you're connected, if you're joined with the light, there are no dark places. It's how we perceive the place. Woo. Do you think there's darkness in heaven? What? There's no darkness. So if it's as above, so below, then that means there's a joining, there's a connection. What you see on the outside, when you walk out your door, when you look at the news, y'all need to stop looking at that. But when you look at the news, what you see is what they want you to believe. Tell a vision. It's telling you a vision to have. But when you take your power back, you tell yourself what vision you're going to have. One time my daughter made a statement to somebody. She said, "You look at me, but you don't see me." That was profound to me. How we're looking at things, but we're not seeing those things. And I asked you the other day, are you ignorant or are you ignoring? Ignorant means not knowing. But we fail for the lack of knowledge. So if you don't know, God says, ask and I'll give you wisdom. And he said to study to show yourself approved. So if you're ignorant of something, you can stop that by getting the knowledge of it and by asking God to lead you and guide you to the light of it. But if you're just ignoring, that means you have a free will to do that. Listen, by any means, I can't take your will from you, and you can't take my will. But I'm saying stop ignoring. When you ignore, you repeat the same things. You keep saying, why do I keep drawing the same kind of people in a relationship? Because you're ignoring the signs. Come on, y'all. Let's go ahead and end this. Again, I suggest you get the Kabbalah. It's going to give you 7 spiritual principles. And you can connect them with the Bible. Y'all stop comparing. You can connect it to the place and space that you need to connect it to. that you have a desire to connect it to. And so as we begin to do this, we begin to motivate ourselves. We begin to activate ourselves. We begin to locate ourselves. We begin to go forth with ourselves. We become the highest version of ourselves. We begin to live and stop existing. We begin to go forward instead of going backwards. It is so awesome. Yes. Again, welcome into this wonderful Wednesday because we are winning. Yes. Now, don't forget me, Mental Equation, Amazon.com, my first writings. Go in and invest $15 and allow yourself to go on a journey. It is not a book, it is writings. You cannot read it, you have to study it because it's revelational. It's not everything that you've heard before. So don't put it down when you begin to not this. I don't want you to agree. I want you to allow it to revelate in your life. Well, it's Michelle and I'm your motivator. I am more motivated today than I was yesterday because yesterday is an illusion and I'm living in the now. And that's where you should be. Did you wake up with thoughts of yesterday? That's already gone. Come on. I will do a new thing, said the Lord. Let's get in the new and the now, right now. Okay? Well, remember, you've been created by the Creator to be creative, so start creating your creations and stop duplicating. And may the love, joy, peace, power, and sound-mindedness be your soul food for today. Listen, thank you, Haps TV. You need to download this app. There may be something that you need to say. It connects to all your social medias. It is free. It is a free app. And as you begin to download it, you can support this broadcast and other broadcasts. There are broadcasts from all over the world that this app will expose you to. So listen, come out of the USA and go somewhere else. And you don't even have to leave your home. Begin to expose yourself to your brothers and sisters that are all over the world. If you don't expose yourself to them, you'll never know them. So let's stop being in a box. Let's move forward. Let's be free. Let's share this unconditional love. We are in a place and a space right now that we can be, do, and have in whatever we decide or what we will to be. So, because you're a creator now. Okay, on this Winning Wednesday, I want you to spend 10 minutes of this day being grateful. It's going to improve your immune system, physically, emotional, mentally, spiritually, in all of those areas. Just every time you think about it today, just say, I'm grateful for, and fill in the blank. I promise you, you will not run out of things to say you're grateful for today. And you have new mercies today. So, use all your mercies because tomorrow you'll get some more. So it's just a grand day to be alive. This is a grand day to be a God being. This is a grand day to be in this dark place, a light. If you're there, there's no darkness. Well, be blessed.